The easiest way to improve your trading results is really to focus on trading with the trend. So the question then becomes, what is a trend that is worth trading? And I've been doing this for 20 years now, and there's a lot of nuances to trend. To make it really simple, I'm going to show you right now something very straightforward that makes trend trading even clearer and easier, and then you can layer things in to increase your probability of a successful trading outcome. It doesn't need to be complicated. As a matter of fact, when it comes to trading, it's often a really intricate understanding of the basics that matters. Don't worry about trying to find all these fandangled new indicators and bits and pieces. Just focus on becoming really good at the things that matter, and the things that matter are trend and price action. Of course, price action creates trends. So I'm short not a couple of things. I'm short DOT right now, and I'm going to use this as an example of a trend that is very good for trading. Now, I took this trade yesterday on the 16-hour time frame. I'm short from right here where this cursor is right now, $3.40 or thereabouts. Why did I short this, and why didn't I short this today? And I'll show you that right now. So, a downtrend, okay? And don't forget, I'm a trader, so I can make money if the market falls. I can make money if the market goes up. The way that I do things is purely based on direction, and trends go both ways. So what made DOT a good trend for me to trade? Quite simply put, it was just a good trend. Here is a lower high, here is a lower low. That is it. When we have a lower high that is met with a lower low, we have ourselves a downtrend. Nothing more complicated than that. No need to draw in any sloping trend lines because they're a complete waste of your time. When you understand the trend, it becomes much, much more basic and easy to spot. I saw a lower high, then a lower low. We pulled back up into this region, which I call the cradle zone. It's one of my trading strategies that I've employed successfully for over 15 years, and I got short on the break of the low of that candle. Now, the idea here is that when we've got good cyclicity, i.e. a really nice trend, that trend has got a high probability of continuing. So what I'm hoping to see here is that this continues to fall, and I've got targets along the way to reduce my risk and to lock in profits. But the idea is that in a downtrend, we're going to continue to set lower highs and lower lows. What I'd love to see is this, a pullback in and a very solid move away from that zone, creating a new lower low. And that is what I'm looking for here. We've pulled back in, I've got my entry to be short, and now I'm looking for this chart to continue to fall and to make a new lower low. Now, if it doesn't make a new lower low, not to worry, I've got profit targets along the way. And of course, even if I got stopped out, I've managed my risk. But what makes DOT the standout against something like what came up today on PayPay, I think it's called. Sorry, this is not PayPay, this is Elon. I think it's Elon. Yeah, something like that. Anyway, it doesn't really matter what it is. It's a chart. You might look at this and go, well, hang on, we've got there's a downward trend here. You would be incorrect in stating that. There was a downtrend. There was a lower high to a lower low. Then we pulled back up into here that potentially gave us another lower high. We made a higher low right here as price pulled back down. Here we go, boom, 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 boom. Higher low to a higher high. Now that was an uptrend that it turned from a downtrend, it became an uptrend, but it didn't last, did it? So now what have we got? Well, we've got a bearish candle right there in that zone. However, we go from a higher high to a lower low. Simply put, we do not have a downtrend. Now you might look at this in different ways and draw your sloping trend lines and say, Craig, but it still isn't a downtrend. And whilst your description or viewpoint of a trend may differ to mine, the reality is a downtrend is a lower high and a lower low. Now, I'm not here to tell you that you're wrong, or I'm not telling you to change the way you view things. What I am suggesting is that if you are looking to increase your probability as a trader, this is somebody who's in the market looking for opportunities to be long and short, to make money by getting the direction right, you'll do very, very well in simplifying how this trend looks. Forget about the sloping trend line connecting these dots. We go from a high to a low. In the case of DOT, we simply went from a lower high to a lower low and we pulled back in. The same can be said here for AI16Z. Pull back in, bearish candle, a move back down. This one is in very good profit. AIXBT, same thing. Lower high, lower low, pull back in, a good move. And then Lumia on the daily hasn't moved quite as far, but as you will also see, a very clear lower high here, lower low here. Actually, sorry, a lower high here, a lower low, and a pull back in here. So there's our lower high that I was talking about. We pulled back in, lower high. The pivot was that point there. We fell lower, we've pulled back in, and this is what I'm looking at as another pivot. So sometimes the simple little things that you become better at will make the biggest shift in your trading. Once you start to understand trend really, really well, you can start to overlay things like I have with my MACD. You'll note as well, hang on, I've got to get my MACD line back properly. You'll notice on my MACD, I don't have a histogram or a signal line. Why? I just don't use them. I also don't have a 50 period or 200 period moving average. Why? Because I don't use them. I use the 10 and the 20 period moving average, and I have a number of different checklist items that I need to meet before I can actually take a trade. But before you get to the detailed strategy side of things, make sure that you are trading in the direction of a strong trend, and it is simply just a series of lower highs and lower lows for a downtrend, or higher lows and higher highs for an uptrend, very similar to what I've got here on LQTY. Anyway, I hope this finds you well. I do have a free newsletter there that I post each week, and if you'd like to join that, well, just jump into the link in bio and knock yourself out. Have a great day, and I hope this helps you to become a clearer and better trader of the markets. Bye for now.